Hello, my name is Tony Martinez from Sunset Spokes, mobile bicycle mechanic. And today what we're doing here is replacing both front and rear brakes. The more difficult ones is the rear brakes because it has internal routing. There's a couple ways to tackle this actually. The easiest way, providing it's uses the same fluid, either you're replacing a dot system with a dot system or mineral oil with a mineral oil, is to use the same hose and snip it here and snip it here and use new fittings, provided that the rear fitting is the same. Unfortunately, what we're doing today is it's not the same. The ones I'm replacing, it's the Dominion's brakes, which use a banjo bolt, and this one uses basically an olive type compression fitting. So we can't do it that way. So what we are going to do is I'm going to snip it here and then put a line connecting it here. So when I pull it through, that line's going to feed in, and I'm going to get the new brake line connected to that fishing line and fish it all the way back up. Because I'm doing it that way, I don't have to mess with magnets and trying to get it routed. It's already kind of routed for me. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and cut these and get started. I like this Park tool handlebar holder. I think it's one of the best ones on the market. It's simple, it works, it's fast. Because I'm just replacing it, I'm just going to cut this. You know, it has an integrated shifter. Let me take that off real quick. Now the thing is, this has an integrated shifting mount. Oops. Okay, that's not where that fell. Always when something falls, follow it with your eyeballs. Anyway, now reattach this. It's not going to use the same mount, of course. It doesn't. So what their customer's going to have to do is buy a mount for this, which they are aware of. They've already ordered it. You get them on Amazon. You get a pair of them for like $12, $13. No big deal. So they're going to do that. And while they're waiting on that, let's go ahead and replace these. I have this brake tool here. It's actually, I've used the Park ones and they're really nice, yeah. But this one, which has a really nice cutter, does cut clean, doesn't compress the hose. I could feed in that bar, the clamps. It's really good. It cost me 15 bucks. And it comes with an extra head. The blade is replaceable, but I find this thing just as good as a Park, and it's 15 bucks on Amazon. Okay, let's get this line here. Now, Park also has a tool with a magnet and a line, and it's kind of pricey. What I'm doing here is, on this one, I'm making sure this does not slip out. Because the last thing you want to do is, you're feeding the line through, and somewhere in the middle, there's a bend or a turn. You pull it too hard, and this line separates, the hose separates from the line. In which case, then you're stuck starting from scratch and feeding the whole thing back through with magnets and stuff. It's a pain in the ass. So I'm tightening this down so there's no chance in heck that will come loose. Now I get the line here. On this tool, it's that this separates from the actual line here, which is nice because then I could just spin that on without it being unwieldy twisty. I mean, it still is, but Not as bad. And you want to start at this end, really you do. You don't want to snip that in and feed it through. Because again, if you're using something where it's different types of fittings on the caliper end, such as a banjo bolt and a standard barb and little sleeve, it's going to be a pain. It's not going to really work. So now that I got that connected here, do this. Now this is a generic one I got off Amazon for like I think $12. The Park one is nice, yes. Problem with I've had Park ones, they're honestly, they break. The problem with the Park ones of these magnet and fishing tools is that I find the Park magnet not as strong as these magnets that you use here. Okay, not as strong. Second is the magnet that's on the line. If anyone's used these Park tools, they know the magnet here on the Park tools fall out easy. I don't know what's going on. They just come undone, and then you put a little hot glue in there, put them back, or hopefully then lose the magnet somewhere inside the bike. It's a pain. What I do like about the Park, that's the best part of the Park, is their line is really nice and soft. This is kind of stiff, so that's not the greatest, but I prefer this over the Park tool one. This $12 one over there, how much ever the Park tool won't cost. So now, let's feed this. So some of the Park tools are good, but just because it says Park doesn't mean it's the best one on the market. I find a lot of the cheaper generic stuff just as good. On certain ones, certain things, certain Park tools, there's nothing comes close. Handlebar holder, stand, all Park. These 3-ways, Park, I love them. They're cheap for what they are, not expensive, they're great. So there we go, pushing this line through. And just like that, we got it lined, we got the old brake out, we got this line inside, correctly routed, and that's all she wrote. Now I can just take this off, put the new brake line in and feed it through. Cut the brake. Now I try to store this upright just so fluid doesn't spill out everywhere from the lever. This type, now I will cut it because I don't really want to reuse all that. Now we want to take pressure nut, the boot off. Now, so here's the old adapter, here's the new hose. I'm just gonna put that in. Now, of course, if you're replacing brakes with different fluids, please remember to just wash it. I usually use alcohol, but we're using the same fluid. Again, I want that in tight, so there's no chance of that coming out. Double check, yeah. Here we go. Now when you're feeding it through, you want to do more of a pushing motion. With the new one, you don't really want to try to pull unless you have to. Sometimes if you back out, go back in. Now if I was really smart, I actually would have turned the bike around so I'm not behind the stand. I'm just used to putting it on the stand with the drive side out, and I got ahead of myself. Got it. Whew, boy, that was kind of hairy. I know, right? But if you ever had to feed some of these hoses through, or housing, I should say, with a magnet, and it could be an absolute nightmare. So we're back to this here. I went and mounted the caliper off camera because it's just mounting the caliper with the correct adapter. It's loose, it's not tight, because once we get the rotor and the wheel in and everything, we'll mount that correctly. But before even doing that, I'm gonna remove the pads and re-bleed it, just to get the air bubbles out, because we know we have air bubbles in it now. So I have this line fed through. That's first thing you want to do is make sure it's routed the way you want it routed. I want that this way. I want it to go in line with the shifter cable. So I'm gonna get a little piece of tape here, because we're gonna have to cut that line. As they say, measure twice, cut once. But if anything, I like to cut it a little long in case I do mess up. I have some room to play with, kind of then fine tune it and cut it again. So I sometimes do cut more than once, but at least I'm cutting excess and not cutting it too short. So let's get this on here. I can see where they have the old lever mounted. It's right there, because the handlebars are scored. So we want that. I'm gonna remove this. Let's bring that back. So what I'm gonna do is have enough room so if the bars rotate, it doesn't pull anything excessively. And it doesn't look awkward, it's sticking out like 2 feet or anything like that. So we want it about right there. I'm gonna get this off because it's leaking. Back upright. I got a little tape here where I want to cut. And always, for me, it's just personal preference. I put tape on the side I want to cut off. Okay, my brake tool here. Let's cut off the excess. Double check. It's about right there. That looks about right. It's a little long, no worries. I could actually still tuck it, or if anything, move it a little bit. There we go. Nice cut. I love this tool. As you can see, I left the leader line. No point in removing it at this point. I will remove it. I put away everything. Okay. So that's a clean cut. Let's go ahead and put it all back. First thing we want to do, get the boot. You put the boot in here. All right. Next thing we want to do is get the compression nut. Slide that in. Now what I like to do is, new brakes usually come with extra fittings because they figure you are going to cut and adjust them. So I got a barb and an olive. What I like to do is, on the Dominions, these Hayes Dominions, these are orientated in a certain way. So what's neat about this one, normally if it's an olive, I'd put that on first, but this requires the barb on first and the olive over it. So I'm gonna go ahead and feed this through this. Tie that up. Loosen that. into the needle. Push that in. And just like that, easy peasy. Yeah, get it snug. Now we get the olive. It goes in one way only. Yep, okay, that's good. So I'm gonna just mount this up, tighten this, put this on here, then mount it on here.